What's up, replayers? Welcome to the room, guys. Maximize potential, how are you? Guys, Vika, what's up? Wanted to go over something really quick. Hey, what's up? Good, glad to hear. LaBoy's in the house. Vaca's in the house. What's up? Regulars are in the house. I like that. Friday night. Hope you guys are gearing up for the Easter weekend. Back to learn. I love it. What's up? Guys, if we could get a quick invite. Hearts, of course, always appreciated. Lets me know that this is not sticking, which is really important. I want to do a quick recap, guys. This system, again, 13.18 we shorted it, and we took 154 pips this week, basically. Now, what's important about this is two things, okay? And if you are new to trading, you might not realize this. Thank you for the invite. Maximize potential. Gio, how are you? Now, if you're new to trading, you might be looking at this thinking these are regular candlesticks. I just updated quickly and showed you that these are painted based upon... LeBoy, thank you for the invite. These are painted based upon an algorithm, right? So this is a computer and not normal candlestick coloring here. There's a different algorithm that's painting these. But the important thing to notice is two things, guys. And any real FX trader, or any trader for that matter in any market, will realize this. Vaca, thank you for the invite. There's two components to last week's trading and this week's trading that you should pay particular, very high interest in. Particularly very high interest in, and it's these two components. Is that any system that can call the volatility on the way up and on the way down is extremely rare, guys. The system that I'm trading here has been in development for 8 years. I've been developing this system for 8 years, okay? So I want you to realize that this is not something... Thank you for the hearts. Angoni, what's up? This is not something that is very new, okay? This is something that I've been developing specifically for FX markets for 8 years. Thanks, LeBoy. And so it's extremely difficult to call a system that can call a news announcement, okay? Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Call the news announcement, which is based upon, as I said before, this is a difference in policy, okay? So this is a policy change. When a system can call a policy change and then also call the return of the high price downward based upon supply and demand, this is extremely promising, guys. And I gotta say, I'm excited about this. You know, when you study this long to develop something and to develop a system, and you finally find something that works, and I will be the first to tell you, most people absolutely lose everything that they invest in any type of market, whether it's foreign exchange, if it's a currency market, or if it's equity markets, or if it's the options. Whatever your game is, man, most people, when they go into it, they will lose everything. Everything when they start. And guess what? When I first started 10 years ago, that's what happened to me. You know? Yes, this is a proprietary system that I coded myself. So it's important to realize that anytime when you go into a new game, so to speak, you're going to lose, man. It doesn't matter if it's poker or any other market. Appreciate that, LeBoy. And there's a learning curve to anything that has promise, okay? The learning curve, as Warren Buffett would say, the learning curve is the moat, okay? Now, if you're not familiar with that term, moat, I want you to pay close attention. What does the moat mean? Moat means the resistance or the barrier to newcomers to an industry or game, okay? That is moat, M-O-A-T. Anything that has a very high moat, all right? Let's say LeBoy was going to go out and buy an airline tomorrow. Well, that's a very difficult game to play right there. Why? Airlines have a very low margin, okay? It's not a great business to own. It's very hard to turn a profit. Right, you would think it's a great business, but in reality, an airline is not a great business. It has a very low profit margin, and it has an extremely high moat. The barrier to entry in airlines is extremely high. It's not a good business for a newbie. Nor is it a good business for most billionaires. Most people will turn that type of business down. And so the moat for anything, including Forex trading, is extremely high. So anything promising has a high moat. It's important to understand that. Unless you are inventing a new technology, if you are an inventor, you might come across something with a new technology that does not have a high moat. But that's just not possible in most cases, especially in modern day, right? Basically, if anything has promise, someone out there is gaming it. Now, how do you figure out what can be gamed? Well, everything is a system, guys. This is the matrix. Okay? Vaca, thank you for joining again. This is the matrix. People are determining these prices, and you can bet on this because it is a system, because there is a market, and we can actually take gains from this market. That is this particular matrix. But there are matrices all over the world. You could profit in poker. You could profit in any industry, including utilities and all of the other various industries. There are so many. But the bottom line is that if you want to profit, you've got to have a game, and you've got to master that game, and you've got to get past the moat. So how do you get past the moat? How do you get past the barriers to entry for trading or any other industry? You have to become an absolute expert, okay? You have to know your stuff. You have to avoid all of the pitfalls. It's about avoiding pitfalls. It's not so much about how much you know. It's about how little you lose while you learn what you know. LeBoy, let me tell you, there's a really hard learning curve when it comes to coding. All right, this is not something that I just picked up overnight. But if you are ambitious enough, I'd implore you to just start with very basic studies and then take it from there. I've been coding for about 10 years now, and it was not an easy road. And I will tell you that the moat when it comes to programming is like learning any other language. If I was going to learn Italian or any other spoken language, there's a moat for that as well, right? And so what are we really attempting when we're going into a market, particularly the Forex market, currency exchanges? We are learning the language of finance. That is what we are learning. We are learning the language of international finance and banking. Is coding literally numbers like the matrix screen? Most of it is conceptual in terms of learning how to do very basic things like loops and defining parameters and things of that nature. So if you're new to coding, I would implore you to take a very beginning C++ class. If that's the route that you want to go, you have to learn what is called object-oriented coding. And object-oriented coding will give you the baseline of theory for all types of languages. All right, so object-oriented coding will give you the baseline for all coding languages. And so that you can do for free. There's tons of courses out there. And that has adaptations to all industries, not just trading. Okay, so if you learn that type of coding, you are learning a skill that will carry across many different industries, many. Okay, and as a matter of fact, if you go on any website where they talk about the most promise for employment in the future, it's all in technology and most of it in coding. How long would it take to learn? Well, it took me 10 years, and I'm a pretty bright guy. So the idea is that you want to not place an emphasis on how long it's going to take to learn, but place the emphasis on investing where you get the highest return. Sure, go ahead and DM me. Essentially what we are doing is we are carrying over an investment from knowing coding into the Forex markets. And we are using that to gain an advantage. It's called having an edge, okay? And any person in finance or math knows about an edge. What's up? Thanks for joining. If you're new to the room, I see a bunch of people coming in. If you're new to the room, please introduce yourself. Let me know where you're coming from. My name is Jay Salvati. I am an algorithm developer and trader in various markets. I'm also a technology investor. I do a lot of stuff with fitness and other things. But today we're talking about the Forex markets. Particularly, we are staring at the daily chart for the Euro USD cross. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to let me know. How profit? I'm assuming that you're saying how to profit. Well, you profit when you align yourself and your money in the direction of the market. Okay? So that is how you profit in a very general sense, is that you either sense where the market is going to go before it does, or you hop on while it's going, right? Vaca. Well, that's not possible. I'm not currently managing anybody else's money except for my own and a few private accounts. But in the future, if I do decide to form my own fund, you will be the first to know. How long on Forex? I'm not sure what you mean. How long have I been studying Forex or trading Forex? About 8 years, and I've been coding for about 10 years. So, guys, listen, what we're attempting to explain here is why is it important for a system to catch both the upside here and the downside, is that there's two different strategies involved with these two moves. Like I said, this was based upon news, and this is based upon supply and demand. So the news made us have this tremendous spike, but look at the moves in supply and demand. You notice that they're much smaller, right? So what does that tell us? That tells us that this is reactive price movement, and this price movement is reluctant. It's reluctance from who? People that bought here on this candle are very reluctant to sell. But as the losses rack up, they do sell. And that's why the price continues to move downward through the support that we said that was going to happen here. Tom, how are you? And these candles are smaller because as people take losses, they reluctantly sell at a loss. And that is the difference between these large candles that are reactive here and these reluctant small candles. The boy, repeat that really quick. I'm sorry I didn't see it because I'm so entranced with the candles and what I was explaining. Man, I gotta put in a request to Periscope to make the comments just stay up at least a half second longer. So why is this important? It's important because it gives us a sense of clarity, and it's a proof of concept. You're very welcome, Vaca. It's a proof of concept that the system is working, okay? The most important thing about this downturn, could you make a system more reliable by adding more sources for it to grab info? Great question, LeBoy. Sometimes that does result in a more reliable system, but sometimes it does not. Sometimes the data points do not actually contribute to the system. It's like having friends, right? Sometimes you have friends that are contributing to your enrichment, and sometimes you have friends that are actually taking away from your enrichment as a person. And so more friends does not necessarily equal more enjoyment, right? Better to keep the friends that contribute more. And that's the same exact thing when you have a system. There are certain data points that add to your system and make it better, and certain ones that do not. Yeah, if you have about 8 figures, you might be able to get my system in text format. In all seriousness, guys, when you have a system that works, how much is a system worth that works? Well, I'll give you an idea. If you know anything about Goldman Sachs, they recently had a coder that tried to take one of their proprietary systems, and they actually got the FBI involved. And when the FBI asked, how much is this program worth? Goldman Sachs put the valuation at $50 million for a single program. So, can you get this program in text? Likely, if you're asking that question, probably not. I will actually probably never sell this program, to be honest. If I do release it, it will be in a software format where people will have the ability to follow along on the trade. But, you know, if I told you to price the last 8 years of your work, obviously it's hard to do that, right? 8 years of your work, depending on a person's salary, if they're making 6 figures, we're talking about $1 million there. So obviously there has to become a protection involved with it. Yeah, there are applications to systems other than trading, and that's why I'm very reluctant to release this system in terms of the raw code will never be released. Exactly. But also what it amounts to is it's not only my profits, it's how many other people will profit if I release it as a software as a service versus if I release the raw code. First of all, if I did release the raw code, 90% of the people who saw it wouldn't even know what they're looking at. But the game would quickly be lost. So the edge of the system is only kept. Wolf of Wall Street would want to buy it. The edge of the system is only kept if it's actually in a controlled manner. And so every fund, every mutual fund, every hedge fund, they're all employing some type of data analysis in their systems, whether it's as simple as an Excel spreadsheet or as complex as a very complex high-frequency trading code. So, in terms of what are systems worth? Well, they're worth what you get out of them, right? In this case, this system took literally the entire move that happened this week in the Euro USD. If there was a move to be captured this week, the system determined that, we caught it. So that's very, very rare. And to be honest, I'm a little surprised. LeBoy, if that was not my goal, I would be lying. Okay, I would be completely honest with you. There's a lot of work that went into this, and I did it. Early on, your work in anything productive is free. And you're doing it from the love of your heart and because of the inquisitive nature that you have. Whether you're an artist, Da Vinci, when he started out, and this is the same for any artist or any inventor throughout history, you start off with the inquisitive nature. And you ultimately have nobody supporting you. No financial backing, no emotional backing. Thank you, Vaca. There's no backing supporting when you first start out. And then from there, what happens is people start to catch on, and they start to see, oh, there's something to this. And then before you know it, an artist could be selling their paintings for millions of dollars. Thank you, Bunky. Appreciate that. Before you know it, an artist or any other inventor, what do inventors do? Okay, well, they lease the rights to their invention, and they give those rights. Long-term persistence equals success. Exactly. But ultimately, what it's about is you have to have a very good amount. Thank you for the follow. You have to know yourself. You have to have self-awareness. And you have to know that the time that you're putting into your work ultimately will be caught upon by other people, and they'll develop awareness as well. And they'll take interest in it, right? So if you're looking at whatever you're putting your time into, whether it's the Forex markets or whatever you're using right now as a tool to gain your financial edge, so to speak, to make an income, if it shows future potential, then keep putting time into it. But only you will know that. And as you get more educated, you'll know exactly what will be valuable in the future. And so you want to think 5 years down the road. What's going to be valuable 5 years from now? Or even 3 years down the road. What's going to be valuable 3 years from now? Right? 3 years before Netflix started, Blockbuster Video thought they were on top of the world. Of course, they're not. Right? So you have to be forward thinking. Exactly. Most people would have easily quit. When I first started in the markets, I lost tens of thousands of dollars. I'm not going to lie. I lost upwards of $50,000 when I initially started in the markets. So the thing that you have to understand is that if you see potential, you should never quit. However, if you don't see potential, that's not quitting. That's reinvesting your time elsewhere where you see a better edge. Hi, thank you for coming in from the Ukraine. That's awesome. No, the system in Texas is not for sale. Lesson learned. So I'm excited going into Sunday because Sunday night I'm going to actually have a really awesome scope for you guys. We're not just going to cover a little bit of the strategy going into the week. I think Sunday night I'm going to cover basically how to quantify how much you could actually earn in the Forex markets. How does that sound? Can I get some feedback on that? And actually, guys, could you just try and invite followers one more time, whether it's on Twitter or Periscope? I just want to make this announcement for Sunday night. So if you guys invite, that would be awesome. And if we get a few more people in the room, they'll know. Bunky, I think you're new here. Thanks for coming in, bud. I appreciate that. Appreciate you coming into the Scope, 7:16 p.m. Eastern Time, and on a holiday weekend. So, guys, as I was saying, next week is going to probably have light volume early on in the week. A lot of traders are going to be coming back from traveling. Show us the people with green ears. Show you the basics. Okay. Yes, well, the basics, I'm going to cover that on Sunday because the very first thing that you want to do is quantify if this is actually worth your time, right? Baka, I mean, you see these candles, and if you're a newbie, you're thinking to yourself, well, what does this mean? Okay, and actually that's what I thought to myself, and that's why I initially got into it, because I had a few friends who, I was a personal trainer at the time, who were making a lot of money in the Forex markets. Musica, what's up? Santo, what's up? Thank you for coming into the room. Where am I from? I'm located in the tri-state area, northern New Jersey. Do I trade gold or oil? Yes, I do trade gold or oil. Gold and oil. I trade commodities. But right now, my focus is on the Forex market. Why is it on the Forex market? And that would be your next question, is because I see lots of currency volatility coming up. Commodities right now have been sold very harshly into this atmosphere where we have what is called stagflation, okay? Economic principles we're talking here. So if you're new to economics, that's okay. But we are in a process of what's called stagflation, and the commodities have been really sold down, and there hasn't been much volatility. So the commodities were a long-term play being sold on the way down. All of the volatility that I see, which is what the system attempts to capture. What does your system predict at this moment? At this moment, we are still short the Euro USD at this moment in time. However, because we are going into support, we take a lot of caution. When the system is in a downtrend and we head into areas where there's a lot of support or resistance on the upside, we take caution and we place our stops a little bit quicker. Now that's a money management principle. That's aside from the actual statistical and mathematical aspects of the system. But money management is mathematical in itself, and that we go back to the risk versus reward and the coin flip I talked about earlier this week. And that's basic probability right there. Now, check this out. Sunday night, we are going to cover quantifying whether or not Forex is worth investing your time in. Now, what questions would you ask if something is worth your time? Well, can you game the system? Do you have an edge? Is it worth your time in terms of study? Binary options, are they related in any way to Forex? Yes, I will talk about binary options on a future scope because it's very in-depth. It's not something that you can answer in one question. But for the most part, binary options have, I would say they are harder to develop an edge in than the Forex markets in general. And for that reason, I don't touch them. Okay? I can explain that on a future scope, but like I said, it's going to be very in-depth. Okay? You could use that to your advantage, I'm thinking. What's that, LaBoy? Use what to my advantage? So, guys, Sunday night, I'm going to hop on about 8 p.m., 9 p.m. So watch out. binary. Well, actually, the thing about binary options is that there is an added component mathematically that actually is a disadvantage when the person chooses to trade binary options. And that's what I'm going to cover in the scope. So it's harder to win with binary options than in any other market. What time is it here? It is 7:20 p.m. I'm on Eastern Standard Time. Or actually Eastern Daily Time now, I believe it is. EDT. So, any questions about Sunday? Any questions about Sunday? I want to hear more of your thinking. Until then, happy holidays. You too, Bunky. Have a great Easter weekend. If you guys get a chance to go outside, the weather in most of the United States is supposed to be pretty nice. 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, around there. Yeah. I'm probably not going to go later than 9 p.m. because I got a lot of work to do tomorrow. Starting for next week. Awesome, little boy. So, just to recap, we're going to cover on Sunday night, how do you determine if the Forex markets are worth your time, or any markets are worth your time investing in. And we're going to go over some actual very easy math examples that I'm going to show you guys some pretty interesting things. Forex is your work. Go to Instagram. I'll hop on Instagram a little bit later. I have a lot of coding to do. When I'm coding, I shut out everything except for music. So we're going to go over some mathematical examples where you'll actually see what these types of moves would represent in an account in terms of money lost or gained. And I think that's important because yes, Fit Businessman on Snapchat as well. Yeah, pretty much I code every day. And it's important to realize what these moves would actually mean in your account, because if you don't understand that, then you have no concept of what the information is worth, right? These moves here, for banks, these moves represent hundreds of millions of dollars. However, we aren't banks, right? So what do these moves represent to us? And that's what we're going to cover on Sunday night. All right, guys? So if you guys want to connect with me, I'm just going to show you really quick for all the replayers. Feel free to connect with me on social media. If you guys want, you can screenshot this. Snapchat, Periscope, Instagram, Twitter, and Blab. I'm Fit Businessman. However, I'm most active on Instagram, Periscope, and Snapchat. And then also, if you want to watch replays, periscope.tv and catch.me, both /Fit Businessman. And if you're going to reach out with questions to me on Twitter, make sure you hashtag FXPrime or hashtag PipKillers, and also Instagram. Any of those hashtags I pay attention to. All right, guys? So enjoy the rest of the night. I hope we clarified why what we're doing is important and why this week's move was important. It's important because we literally caught 100% of the move this week off of the system. Thank you, LeBoy. Yes, I don't pay attention to negative people. Some people come into the room and they leave comments, and I just block them instantly because this is... Thank you, Maximize. Here's the deal, guys. Whenever you put yourself out there, there's going to be negative comments. There's going to be people that say some of the harshest things you can imagine. But here's what you have to think about with those people is, I'm literally showing people how to make literally almost $10,000 a week with this. This move here on a large account is almost $10,000 in a single week. I mean, if you're going to make fun of someone who's showing or down someone who's showing you how to make money, then you're just a complete idiot. Like, there's no reason to even listen to someone like that. And so they're on a different frequency. Those people are vibrating on a frequency where if that type of thing is not important or valuable to you, then you're not even worth talking to me. Yeah, 10K in a day could be done as well. You know, but you're going to have to be trading a very large lot size. You know? But, you know, we're talking in terms of realistic, you know, if you're making 10K a week, you're talking $40,000 a month. That's $500,000 a year. I mean, I don't know. Most people, I know a few people that make a lot of money. And $500,000 a year is still a lot of money no matter where you live in the United States. If you're living in a third world country, you're talking about some crazy money. All right, but the point is that capturing these moves, you're already making more than literally all except the top 5% of people in the world. That's a very large goal. I hope you get it. I hope you get it. You're going to have real strategy, and you're going to have to realistically find a way to scale up to that point, but any number can be hit as long as you find a way to scale into that number, which is not easy, but anybody can. Trust me on that. It's all math. It's all math, guys. All math. There is literally nothing that cannot be accomplished by knowing math and by knowing how to scale businesses. Okay? That is the truth. Any business can be scaled, but there is always a limit to what a certain business can scale to. Right. Knowledge is the key. You got to know how much of your business can scale and at what point can it scale, right? Damn right, Vaca. 2016 is our year. So when we stare at this and we see, hey man, we just killed an entire week. Next week, we start at 0 again and we try to kill it next week. The week prior, we had this move. All right, this week was this move. What's going to be the move this coming week? Well, all I know is that my system will catch it when it's time, and that's all I care about, right? and let me tell you this, guys. Anybody that tells you that they can predict moves many days in advance is full of shit. The algorithm predicts moves basically just 1 day in advance. So I can predict the moves up to a day in advance, and beyond that, it's extremely hard to predict no matter what type of math you use or no matter what type of system you use, because obviously no one knows what's going to happen tomorrow. You know, I talked about the volatility effect of, news like terrorist attacks and stuff like that. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but sometimes the system can predict a day in advance. I think, yeah, well, let's be honest here. Most people, the interest just on $10 million a year, you would not have to work. So it's important to realize that if you're making $450,000 a year, you're already in the top 5% of income earners in the entire world. Put that into perspective. All right? Put that into perspective. So what we're trying to gain here, though, is a repeatable strategy. So don't even think about the big numbers until you can earn $1 over and over again. Yeah, if your goal is to give up your job or to stop working something, it's probably because you don't feel that it's rewarding you as a person, right? Right? And so what we have here is a dilemma of do we follow something that just earns us bread, or do we follow something that can earn us bread and be our passion? And that's a question that only you can answer. For me, personally, finance is a passion. This is a passion for me. And you got to find ways to find your passion and find the most scalable way that your passion can make you money, meaning that you can always make more money from it. All right, buddy. You get to bed and get some rest. I appreciate you hopping on the scope. Right, the 40-40 trap. 40-hour week, 40 years to live off 40%. And that trap, there's no way that you can determine if that's going to be the case in the future. Right. So maximize, if you like trading right now, the goal should be to get to the point where you can love it. You're only 16, man, you got a head start. Let me tell you, if I was 16 looking at this scope right now, first of all, we didn't have technology like this when I was 16. All right? But man, oh man, if I could be 16 again listening to myself on this scope, I'd be taking notes I would say forget my friends. I'm going to stay glued to this screen. I'm going to become a master of this screen. And you're right. It's never too late or too soon to start. You can make your decisions no matter what your age is. Age is just a number. It does not matter when it comes to learning. Mark Zuckerberg started coding when he was 4 years old. He had his first tutor from 4 to 6 years old. That tutor was his father. His father taught him coding. From 6 years old onward to high school, his father got him a personal tutor. He was coding from 6 years old to 18 years old, and by the time he was 18, he was already in a position to tutor his college teachers. He was taking computer science classes at Mercy College right here in the tri-state area in Westchester County. He grew up in White Plains, which I actually go to the White Plains Whole Foods on a frequent basis. So Mark Zuckerberg is from an area that I frequent all the time. He was taking college classes at Mercy by the time he was already 13 years old. I'm from the tri-state area, yes. So I frequent New York City and Connecticut and Westchester quite frequently. So I know New York City and New Jersey and the surrounding area very well. Keep in mind, it's only a half hour in every direction, and you're talking about 13 million people. So, this is a very densely populated area. Anyone who's from this area does tend to travel in the tri-state, we call it, which is New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut. And most people do travel between two states on a regular basis for their work. Sure, I'll try to talk a little bit slower. Vaca, you're out in Brooklyn? I didn't know that. That's cool. You're not too far from here. You know, that drive, I mean, if there was zero traffic, it's not that far at all. But the fact of the matter is that the traffic makes all the difference coming from New Jersey than going to Brooklyn. Bushwick, cool. Iowa's in the house, cool. And see, guys, this is what makes this very interesting. I'm 35 years old. So I've been doing this since I was 25. So if I started when I was 16, oh my God. Let me tell you, age, wow, 19. The boy, I mean, you young guys that are getting a young start, I don't really think you realize how powerful youth is. And the biggest thing I can tell you is be a hungry lion when it comes to getting information. Be a lion, man, because if I could go back to that age, the only change that I might make is maybe somehow try to get more information, stuff my head, take a speed reading class. I would do all I could to get more information at an earlier age because it just compounds. As you get older, that information becomes more and more valuable. And there's so much value and experience that, you don't understand. So my value from 25 to 35 was in experience. But had I gotten a little bit extra information early on, the experience would have came faster, Alrighty, I'm going to hop off too, guys. But anyways, Sunday night, I will see you guys. I wanted to hop on and just get on here and converse with you guys. We got to give ourselves a pat on the back for this week's trading. We did an excellent job. We literally gave commentary the whole time. We gave commentary the whole time on the way down. And even if you guys were just following along on the trade and not actually in any of these short positions, you got to give yourself a pat on the back because you're at least realizing where value is. You're welcome, Maximize. Realizing where value is a skill in itself, and it means that you are developing that skill when you see value. Okay, guys? So give yourself a pat on the back, and I would implore you to start keeping a trading journal even if you're not currently taking trades. Follow along and write down the epiphanies in everything that I say and everything that you see. Make the best of your time, guys, all right? Invest in yourself, and investing in yourself means investing your time wisely, no matter what your age is. If you're 16 and you start investing it wisely, then all the better. Excellent, excellent, LeBoy. Keep it going. I will see you guys Sunday night. Have a happy Easter weekend, and get some great food and time with friends and family going forward. Okay, guys? Happy Easter. Ciao.